Hi all. Today I am discussing some points related to absolute liability and strict liability. This comes under two areas. One is in under environmental law as well as for torts also. This topic is covered. So I just want to have highlight some key points here. Let us see just what is happening here and the facts of the case. One is strict liability, and thereupon absolute liability has come up in the court's purview. State liability happens when we have the case here, it is in the UK. The case law is Rylands versus Fletcher. I'll just tell the brief facts of the case in brief. There are two parties, one is Rylands and another is Fletcher. Rylands is a person who constructs a reservoir water to supply water for his mill. So when at the time of construction of the water, nearby the mill there is one coal mine. The owner of it is Fletcher. So at the time of the construction of the reservoir water storage for the supply of water for his mill Rylands, he employs a contractor. So while at the time they found some shafts or holes where the water has passage, but they constructs at the time of things they found out some shafts. What is they filled them while constructing the reservoir. The workers found some old shafts and passages beneath the reservoir. They filled them shafts and passages with mud and complete the work negligently. Because of this, the water enters into the coal mines, damages the work for the Fletcher coal mines, unable to work. The operations were affected. When the reservoir got filled with water, it burst through the shafts and flooded the plaintiff. The defendant was held liable on the ground of strict liability. Now I tell what are the underlying principle when the strict liability is applicable. The plaintiff in an action for strict liability has to prove the following conditions: dangerous thing, escape, and non-natural use. Why? Because the compensation has been given, because here the water is used for storage capacity. It is not for natural use. For the reservoir, for his supply he has used, so it is non-natural use. And there is escape, because the water escaped, the plaintiffs got damaged, these coal mines. Another dangerous thing, non to attract constitute strict liability, the thing kept on defendant's land must be for non-natural use. Example, storage of water in house for domestic purpose for natural use. If it is stored in huge quantity, as in case of Rylands versus Fletcher, it is a non-natural use. And some defenses are available when we compare with strict liability. Means when we like voluntarily we agree for that, then there is no compensation available with us or any action solution. Defenses, as stated above, the liability evolved in Rylands versus Fletcher is strict, and hence the following defenses are available to the defendant to get exemption from the liability. If it is act of God or vis major, this is one of the thing. Vis major, VISMAJOR, vis major, act of God is commonly applicable in insurance contracts also. This clause, vis major. Plaintiff's own fault, like plaintiff he himself done some fault. Third thing, malicious act of stranger or third party. Common benefit or the consent of the plaintiff. If the plaintiff agrees, okay, he gives consent, then he has to bear the damage or suffering. Fifth one, statutory authority. Yeah, one I just mentioned the things. What is happened here? If the rule does not apply, if the defendant keeps the thing on his own land with the consent of the plaintiff, or the common benefit of the plaintiff and the defendant. Example, water tank for the common benefit of the plaintiff and defendant. So if the water tanks destroys or collapses, then both has to share the liabilities, or he voluntarily eh, comes up plaintiff. And now we'll talk about the absolute liability, how it has evolved in India. Strict liability is in UK, it's a UK case law long time back, but our courts have developed their own things that is called absolute liability. Whatever may be, what is absolute liability meaning, whatever may be the liability we have, I mean, whatever the case, there is no exceptions. The company has to compensate the person whoever has suffered. It generally happens in environment or anything, any related activities, public at large. So I'll just tell the definition. The rule of absolute liability is developed from the rule of strict liability evolved by Black J. Byrne in 1868 in the case of Rylance versus Fletcher. Please note down. In 1868, this case happened. Rylance versus Fletcher. So they have taken some interpretation, like at that time the Justice Blackburn J. The liability of defendant under absolute liability is more when compared to the strict liability. Absolute liability irrespective of negligence on the part of the defendant without defenses. The rule of absolute liability was evolved in 1987 by Justice P.N. Bhagwati. At the time, the Supreme Court has given this in the case of MC Mehta versus Union of India. There are two leading cases of poisonous gas disasters leading to the formulation of the principle of absolute liability. One is the Bhopal gas tragedy. That is the case law is Union Carbide Corporation versus Union of India, popularly known as Bhopal gas leak disaster case or Bhopal gas tragedy. And another is oleum gas leak, popularly called as oleum gas leak, but it is the case law is MC Mehta and another versus Sriram Foods and Fertilizers Industries. Facts of the case I will tell you. On the midnight of 23rd December 1984, there was leakage of poisonous gas, methyl isocyanate, it is called as MIC, from Union Carbide Corporation India Limited, located at Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, which is a subsidiary of Union Carbide Corporation USA. This disaster was described as the world's worst industrial disaster as it claimed the lives of more than 2,260 people and caused serious injuries with variety of complications in about 6 lakhs of people. The Government of India proclaimed an ordinance entitled the Bhopal Gas Leak Disaster Processing of Claims Act 1985 and has given compensation to the victims and filed on behalf of the suit in US District Court, New York. Initially, the case was filed in the US court, but where the US District Court has taken some another in different interpretation. They told that since this incident happened in India, we are not the proper thing jurisdiction. We don't have any jurisdiction to deal this case. So again, this case came up here in India Supreme Court. See, I'll just inform you what is the thing, what they have mentioned. The U.S. District Court, through the Judge John F. Keenan, dismissed all the petitions on the ground forum for forum non convenience. That is, the suits can be more conveniently tried in India, and also directed UCC to pay $5 million to the victims as an immediate relief. The Union of India preferred an appeal before the United States of Appeals for the Second Circuit, and the same was dismissed. Then the Union of India filed a suit, Union Carbide Corporation versus Union of India, 1991, in the District Court of Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, claiming 3.3 billion US dollars, that is 3,900 crores, claiming as compensation. The District Court, headed by MWDO, ordered UCC, Union Carbide Corporation, to pay an interim relief of 270 million US dollars, that is rupees 350 crores, to the victims. The UCC filed a civil revision petition before the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, which reduced the amount from 350 crores to 250 crores. The UCC was reported to have decided to go on appeal against the interim relief and devised a new strategy of outmaneuvering the Indian government by direct settlement with the gas victims. Against this move by the UCC at the plea of the Union of India, the District Sessions Court Bhopal passed an interim order directing Union Corporate Corporation not to make any compromise or settlement with any individual until further orders. Later, both the parties preferred appeals before Supreme Court on different issues. So again, ultimately, the Supreme Court has decided this case. Issues involved. One of such important issue is the liability of parent company. Second thing, the order issued involved is responsible to home state USA for the hazardous activities of the Union Corporate Corporation subsidiary abroad. So what is this means? Subsidiary means the whole main company is holding company is American company, but where they have started operation in India, they have a own another company called started, which is a subsidiary. Means they have a stake investment here in this company, Union Corporate India Limited, subsidiary company. The other issue involved is responsible to the home state for the hazardous activities of the UCC's subsidiary abroad, UCL in India. Another issue is with regard to responsibility of host state in enforcing safety standards for the protection of life and environment and the extent of liability to the victims of their further rehabilitation in the event of accidents. And it is really unfortunate thing that this has happened in India at that time. People have suffered, so many people with the diseases and after effects, side effects, and they lost employment, life. Another case is oleum gas leak. Here also the court has said that there is no act of God like strict liability can't be applied here. Absolute liability, even though the company is liable to pay the victims or to the government for the rehabilitation. The decision. The Supreme Court full bench wide its order dated 14th February 1980 directed the thing. Sorry, one second. I'll just. Priyan Bhagwati, keeping in mind the 1-year-old great gas district of Bhopal, you the new rule absolute liability in preference to 1868 rule of strict liability. So Justice Priyan Bhagwati has coined this absolute liability. The actually here also the holding company is Sriram Foods, but belonging to the company Delhi Textile Mills Limited. Holding company is Delhi Cloth Mills, actually DCM. The subsidiary company which was having the factory in the name of Sriram Foods and Fertilizers Industries. It happened. The factory is at the Delhi. When the matter was pending before the Supreme Court, another gas discharge took place from Sriram Foods and Fertilizers Industries belonging to Delhi Textile Mills on 4th and 6th December 1985. One advocate died and several others injured. MC Mehta, a leading legal practitioner, Supreme Court filed a public interest litigation petition under Article 32 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court, through B.N. Bhagwati, Chief Justice, keeping in mind the 1-year-old great gas disaster of Bhopal, evolved a new rule, absolute liability in preference of 1868 rule of strict liability. I'll just give you brief facts. Sriram Foods and Fertilizers Industries is a subsidiary of Delhi Cloth Mills, located in a thickly populated area of Delhi. On 4th December 1985, there was leakage of oleum gas from the sulfuric acid plant, resulting in the death of an advocate in the Tees Hajari court and injuries to several others. On 6th December 85, also there was a minor gas leak. Again, the leak happened, and again people have suffered, but still they have not taken proper care precautions. The company Shriram Foods. So again the leak happened. Against the complaint on 6th December also there was a minor leakage from the same plant. Against the complaint under section 133 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the district magistrate Delhi directed the management of the Shriram Foods and Fertilizers Industries to close down the unit and to show cause the reasons within 7 days wide order dated 6 December 1985. So again the Delhi administration has taken a step in a right move, since again the leak has happened. They have ordered to close down the factory. So for this action against the government, the Shriram Foods has filed the case. The petitioner MC Mehta advocate Supreme Court filed a public interest litigation petition in the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution. The petition, in his petition, requests the court to direct the government to take necessary steps to avoid such leakages from the industries engaged in dangerous and hazardous in- waste manufacturing process. He also reminded the court then 1 year old great gas disaster we had Union Carbide India Limited, Bhopal gas leak, and prayed the court to direct the management of Shriram Foods and Fertilizer Industries and the government to shift and relocate the plant at a place far away from the city. So he has prayed. This is a separate, but two cases are there related to the same. So ultimately, the court has given the thing. Director central government to set up environment court consisting of a judge and two experts as members to assist the judge in deciding the environmental cases. The Supreme Court through Chief Justice P.N. Bhagwati opined the rule of strict liability evolved in 1860 does not suit the socio-economic conditions of the 20th century and keeping in mind the then 1 year old Bhopal gas disaster evolved the principle of absolute liability which read as follows. We are of the view that an enterprise which is engaged in hazardous and inherently dangerous industry which poses a potential there to the health and safety of the persons working in the factory and residing in the surrounding areas owe an absolute and non delegable duty to the community to ensure that no harm happens. So these are the brief case laws, two case laws very much important. Bhopal gas tragedy, Bhopal gas leak, Union Carbide, and another is oleum gas leak. Popularly, these are the popular, but actually the case is Shriram Foods, where there is also oleum gas leak. These are the thing. Two case laws comes under strict liability, sorry, absolute liability. Another is strict liability. We know Reliance versus Fletcher, where the Indian courts have rejected the strict liability. They took that absolute liability means the employer is the company is liable. However, they take care if there is any loss happens, damage happens to the public, any leak, anything, environmental pollution happens, the company is liable. Otherwise, they will close. The government has every right to close the factory. One more case law also happened. I'll just note down, inform you. And the courts have any people affected under Article 32, we can file a public interest litigation with the Supreme Court as well as Article 226 with the High Courts. Another case will relate to pollution is tanneries, Ganga river. The case law is MC Mehta versus Union of India, Ganga pollution municipalities case. The facts in brief, I'll just describe. The river Ganga is very famous for its historical significance and religious importance and is considered mostly sacred by the Hindus. A number of cities, towns, and villages belonging to UP, Bihar, West Bengal are located on the banks of the river. The Ganga water got polluted as industrial waste, chemical effluents, human excreta are being discharged into the river. Further, a number of dead bodies are being thrown into the river at Kasi with a belief that the dead persons would go to heaven. The sewage water in the huge quantities from Calcutta, Kanpur, and places is being discharged into the river. There is a cattle population of about 80,000 in Kanpur. The dung, fodder, waste, and other refuse from the cattle is released into the river. The sample of Ganga water at Kanpur was tested and was found not suitable for drinking. The petitioner MC Mehta, a practicing advocate in the Supreme Court, filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution against Union of India, Kanpur Municipal Corporation, and others for removal or prevention of public nuisance caused by the pollution Ganga water. The petition, his petition, contended that the Kanpur Municipal Corporation failed to control or prevent the pollution under the Environment Protection Act 1986. the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 and prayed the court to direct the concerned authorities to take necessary steps. The judgment given by the Supreme Court allowed the petitioner, appreciated the petitioner for taking initiative and gave the following directions. To the Kanpur Nagar Mahapalika was directed to take up the following steps immediately to shift the cattle causing public nuisance at dairies to outskirts of the city so as to prevent the release of waste into the river, to improve the sewage system and construct public lavatories at in the slum areas, to abandon the practice of throwing corpses or semi-burned corpses into the river, to the High Court not to grant stay orders liberally to the industries and polluters and avoid delay in disposal of the cases, because as soon as the case comes up, the industries went immediately they go to High Court and request for the stay order against the Pollution Control Board. Anyway, hope I just tried my best to describe some of the important case laws related to environmental law.